She looks like a loaf of bread. Here's the thing, like if you do, this is where you actually get more interesting things, right? That is actually, I'm not sure what shape that is called. Is it like a, yeah, I think you get like really interesting stuff at like these very low values. Obviously, going to get vastly different shapes. I like that one with a radius of 2 centimeters. I wonder what the sub-selection rules are here. And you know what I also haven't done is I haven't illustrated this point as well. Obviously, we can't actually do anything with this at this stage. And similar to text, like where it's like with text, I said make sure you do it. You get the shape you want first, and then break apart. And I think probably the same is true for this. Let's try something different with this. I'm actually going to change the color of it first. Do blue. Let's do a break apart on it now. How easy is the rename situation with this? Because the thing is, like, you need to rename a lot of this. Can I just put F2? I wish I could, right? Cube. Actually, is there a rename button here? You know what's weird? There is not a rename button at all. No, I'm deliberately avoiding this button. By the way, the place in the graphic on the model is not same with the lighting for both environment and local. They're not really like that interesting at this stage. They might be. I'm sure they will be, but I've kind of come to the conclusion you may as well actually wait until you see the problem before looking for the solution. And I'm not really seeing that at this point. Let's do a break apart anyway. So yeah, we get to do it. Move to ground. Could do. I'm not really bothered about move to ground at this point. All right. What do we actually get on this list? You don't exactly get a list of glyphs like that. And one thing that I did, like just reviewing like what I've done recently, right? You can't select this section. No, you can. Is there each selection? Yeah, each section is selectable. But can I change the actual individual? Because you can do it. This was something I actually didn't do last time. It's showing me break apart, which you need to click, right, to actually get the selection to work. Interesting. How did I not get it though? I wasn't I think it's possible that for some reason this is something that is weird, right? Will it always? Yeah, you see, it always deselects it when as soon as I press that button. So what I can tell, right, it's almost like I can't do screen color. I can only do materials on these sections, which it doesn't make any sense at all to me. Unless there's one possibility that might make sense though, because I know it will let me put a material on there. So maybe I could do material first, then change it back to full color. Let's try that, right? So what if I now change this to a color? Because the thing is, right, it adds a new, it adds this section here, right? So if I change that base color, this seems like a bit of a trick, but maybe it will work, right? It does work. Does it? Yeah, it does. See, that is weird, right? I haven't also looked at this section yet. What other options do we have here? CC library, edit. What does it do with edit on this? Oh no. You don't want to edit, did you? Oh, at least we know what it does though. Right, yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so but the thing is you can't really add any more. Is there no way to add to this menu? What I might be able to do is use the sampler tool to actually what if I do an alt on this? So we'll do that. No, I didn't want to do that. Hmm. All right. So yeah, so we're still at this stage where I'm trying to work out if I can just change the sub-selection tool properly. Um, because basically when I change the sampler, do we get a deselection? We don't get a deselection in this case, right? So if I sample, okay. So basically that is the way you would do it. If we look at the options. So let's just go through that process again of how we actually do it. Not that. So we select our option there. We do S. Let's just go through all the keyboard process here. Because technically what we could do, right, is even though it's just strange how it works, but anyway. So the sampler is I and the magic wand is W, right? So we switch to I, we keep the selection there. Simple click is all you need, right? We go to S. Not S. All right. So basically, this is how it works. We go to W, click there, then we do I, and just left click on this one, and that does it. But it won't keep it in the memory, right? So when we go back to, so we'd have to, so what we could do if we wanted to do both these sections, we'd have to look. Then we would have to look at this, right? What are the options for it? Selection mode, new selection, replace. I think it's just basically we can just shift. I think it's not. I think this is like confusing me a little bit because it doesn't really mean they're all kind of the same thing, right? All I just do is press shift when I've got this, and I'll select the next section, right? Yeah. So it's all just nonsense. Okay. And there we go. So basically, what's interesting is that it's on new selection. This is something which I noticed a while ago. It's on new selection, right? Replaces the current selection with new selection. So this is what you're used to in Photoshop. So if I click on left click here, no, it's fine actually. I think sometimes it just reacts so slowly that I'm not, maybe I don't wait for it or something. Maybe I cancel it by mistake. So we're going to, if we analyze what we've got with Cube. Okay. All right. So if we want to actually analyze the only way to actually analyze the texture, we can do our things with the texture here, right? So that will always create a uniform texture. Okay. But what would be the process if you wanted to have a non-uniform texture with several different walnut? Can we alt this? Let me just see if I alt. Try and create a second one of these. Can't really, right? You can't really duplicate that. Because if you could duplicate it, you could have one section. Because there's no way basically to, this is what I'm saying, there's no way to select this and then modify it in some way. What we could do, how would we go around doing that? If we went in here, no, wait. Let me just think how we could do that. We need to get a selection. So we'd have to, again, we can't just change the color because it's all linked, right? So the only way to do it is we'd have to go for, just out of interest, if I did walnut wood again, would you then recognize the second? Yes, you would. Okay. Then if we look at the second one, that is the way to do it then. Right? So basically, the answer is if you want to have a, if you want to have different shading with the same texture, you'd basically, first of all, you would work out which textures they are. Then you would say, all the other ones, I'll just alt and sample. But then the ones that I actually want to have these brighter textures, say these two at the front, I would basically make sure that I have a separate texture, basically by choosing it from the menu. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward actually. Once you sort of know how that works. Make sure we get this bit selected. There you go. So that's cool, right? That would work pretty nicely. Now the other thing that I did actually want to work at, if we look at the cube again, the bevel properties, and again, similar to text, it's a case that basically once you've done everything, once you're at like a stage of like quite high editing like this, you're basically not going to be able to return to the settings you want. I did look through it before with the text. I noticed it's really quite an early stage. I think as soon as you do really anything that is basically breaking up the ability to basically change the color of the whole thing, any kind of breaking apart is just a no-go zone. All right, let's actually just get another cube out, just because I want to show the beveling issues on this, and then we'll move on to the next